All right, so today we are talking about how to look up comps in the field so you can make your buying and sourcing decisions. I found this thing. Do I want to buy this thing? And you can figure that out with the eBay app based on either how fast things are selling or what they're selling for or a combination of both. So I keep my eBay app right on the first screen of my phone so I can pull it up quickly. I do a lot of clothing, so I'm going to use clothing examples, but imagine me there in a random Goodwill at the rack. I've come across something I'm not sure about, so I pull the phone out, open up the eBay app, and the first thing we need to know about the home screen is the search bar is at the top. At least it is on iOS. This could all be slightly different for Android. So you're just going to tap in there and type in your search terms. If you're looking at a piece of media or a sealed retail package of some kind and you want to scan the barcode, you can hit the camera item at the end of the search bar, the camera item, the camera icon, and there is a barcode scanner in there. But here we have, this is a Polo Ralph Lauren. This is a button-down shirt. It is a button-down because the collar buttons down. But some people might call that a button front or a button up shirt. Some people might just call it a dress shirt, and all of those things. So I actually have in my search history, because I already did this, Polo Ralph Lauren button shirt. I just leave off the word down or up or front and figure that will hit most of them. All right, so then we get our search results. There's a couple things you need to know here. One, at the very bottom, right above the search icon in the system tray at the bottom, it shows us how many results we have, which is 51,000 plus, which is a ton of listings. And then right under the shopping cart icon in the upper right, it's in blue in my screen, we have a sort button and a filter button. And we want to filter for sure. And then if you start scrolling through the results to see what people are listing things for, a filter button pops up at the bottom as well. And we need to filter because we have the word polo in our search because that's the brand, but polo is also a kind of shirt, and that's not a like item to like item. So, and a brand like Polo Ralph Lauren also makes a ton of button front, button up, button down shirts for women as well. And we're also going to be looking at both new and pre-owned listings in these search results. Right there's a new other. So we're going to hit filter. I like to compare like items to like items. So I like to just, at the top, buying format, I like to go buy it now. I exclude the auctions. A lot of auctions might sell, but for low prices. And it's not really how I'm going to sell mine or what I want to sell mine for, so I like to just exclude those. And in condition, I want to go pre-owned. And you can see that takes us down from 51,000 plus to 39,000. And then the other thing to note here, category, it's already popped us into a category based on what we searched for or what it thinks we're looking for. So we're in casual button-down shirts, which is a men's category. So I don't need to worry about that, and that is a good category for this shirt. Sometimes you don't want it to pop you into a category, so you might want to back out to just men's clothing, something like that. Sometimes it doesn't pop you into a category, so you might want to exclude the men or women, depending what you're looking at. Okay. Now, that brought us down to 33,000 plus results. See that at the bottom? Now, I know that's slightly different than what we saw just a moment ago, and I will cover that. Now, there's all these other things that we can filter for. Sleeve length, color, size can be a very important one, especially in polo. But let's just keep it at top level for now. We're going to tap Show More to get the rest of our options. Brand can be a good one sometimes, especially if the brand has a common word in it and you want to make sure you're looking at just that brand. And what we're looking for here is sold items. So I'm going to tap that button. Oh my gosh, I tapped the wrong one. That's sale items. Not items on sale, sold items. God, what a bonehead move. Okay, so that selected both sold and completed for us because sold items are, by their very nature, completed items. And you can see that got us to 18,000 plus results. And then usually if I'm interested at that point, I'm going to hit the X and I want to see what stuff is selling for. Okay. And I just kind of scroll a little bit just to get an idea of what is stuff selling for. Now, in reality, this is not a specific enough search to make a decision, but let me show you the math. We had 33,000 plus results listed. We have 18,000 sold. Okay, in this in these search results, these sold listing search results, eBay gives us 90 days worth. It looks back 90 days. So 3 months essentially, okay? We had 33,000 active. If the next 3 months is the same as the last 3 months, we can expect 18,000 of that 33,000 listed to sell. So that gives us a quarterly sell-through rate of whatever 18,000 divided by 33,000 is. It's going to be a little more than half, right? Because half of 33,000 is what, 16,500? So say maybe it's 55%. So on average, 55% of shirts that are used, buy it now, and match the search, Polo Ralph Lauren button shirt, 55% will sell on a quarterly basis. I've always looked at a monthly sell-through rate. That's just kind of how I train my brain. And if you want to do that, very easy. We have 90 days of sold data. Divide the 18,000 by 3 to get a 30-day rate. So about 6,000 a month sell. There's 33,000 listed, so a little under 20% sell. I personally like at least a 30% monthly sell-through rate or 90 to 100% or greater quarterly sell-through rate to pop on a thrifted item. Okay, so now I'm going to turn off the sold and completed, get us back up to our 33,000, and let me show you a couple things. One, even though that we're in casual button-down shirts, there's still polo shirts in here, so it's not 100% accurate. Two, there are other things we could filter for. Size, I mentioned, this one happens to be an XL. We could look at all these shirts, well, how does XL sell? How does 2XL sell? A lot of times that is important. Size is one to know. In my case, what interested me about this shirt, by the way, I could also do long sleeve versus short sleeve, or the color blue. In some brands, like pink, will sell better than other colors. But what interested me about this shirt, I initially passed on it. I went back to it. I initially passed on it because it was just kind of beat looking. This wasn't a shirt somebody wore a couple times and just hung in the closet. This shirt got worn a lot. You can't really tell in the photos. It doesn't have stains or holes. It just has a lot of what I would call wash and wear, which, by the way, is a good descriptor for your condition if you find a shirt like this. It has a lot of wash and wear. It's a worn shirt. It's been worn. It's used. But I could tell it wasn't a standard shirt based on the feel. And the material on the shirt is interesting. It's 60% linen and 40% silk. That's very different than a 100% cotton shirt. And most of what we're copying against here is cotton, because all we've searched is Polo Ralph Lauren button shirt. So what I'm going to do is instead search for Polo Ralph Lauren linen silk shirt, okay? Because I want to hit the linen silk blend, essentially. Now look at that. That lowered our results from 33,000 something to 151. Usually when you do a new search, that's going to take off your filters. So we still want to go buy it now and pre-owned. And here, let me discuss the difference here. You see at the bottom it says 113 results, but you see where I picked pre-owned, in parentheses it says 153. So there are actually 153 listings, but eBay has chosen to show me 113. And with this small quantity of listings, that can actually affect your percentage by quite a bit. And here's why. Let me open up the filter menu again. See at the top where it says sort best match. So they're showing me what they think I have searched for, essentially. Technically, there's 153 shirts that match my terms, my search terms, but they're only showing me the 113 that they think I'm interested in. So if you change that sort to anything else, let's say highest price plus shipping, you'll see now at the bottom, I have 153 results, and it's showing me everything. Now, I don't always do that, okay? Because see here, there's a sweater vest. There's a sweater. There's another sweater. So they're actually pretty good at filtering out what I'm not looking at. There are some polo shirts. And a big factor with best match and matching the best match on eBay is listing quality. So a lot of times, honestly, I'll just leave it like this. See here, we're not seeing the sweaters, we're not seeing the polo shirts. There's a polo shirt. But, for the most part, they've picked up on what I'm searching for a lot better than looking at all the listings that had a bunch of sweaters in it. Now, I could filter further here to long sleeve, to solid colors, to blue, to the size, etc. But with only 113 listings, I'd like to just go ahead and see what the solds are. If I still had like a couple thousand listings, maybe I want to filter farther. Okay, we have 198 sold results. And we have some pretty decent looking prices too. Some of these are up in the $30 range, 35, 30 plus shipping. So this is why I came back to this shirt and bought it, even though it had wash and wear, it wasn't in perfect condition. And a good trick I have to get rid of the polo shirts that just seem to always show up. I could filter for long sleeve, but there are quite a few short sleeve linen blend shirts as well. The advantage I'm having right now is it's November, so the long sleeve's probably going to sell better than the short sleeve anyway. But here's what's promising. 198 sold results versus 113 listed, or even versus the 153 listed that we acknowledge contains some sweaters, right? That's a much higher sell-through rate than what we looked at when we did a less specific search and just looked at Polo Ralph Lauren button shirt, right? So on average, we have about 60, let's say 65, 66 of these selling every month, and we only have 113 listed. So we expect more than half of these to sell over the next 30 days. We expect all of them to sell over the next 90 days. So for me, that's a buy every single time. And I did buy that shirt. You can tell I already photographed it, and it's listed. And I'm into this shirt for $4, and I'm probably going to get between $25 and $30. All right, so if we're going to get good at this, the best way to do it is just practice, practice, practice. The next time you go to a thrift store, plan on spending some extra time there, spend a long time there, and look up a lot of stuff. So on a recent trip, I took a little bit of video just of myself flipping through the racks and some different things I stopped on, and I thought I'd show you how I looked those up as just some additional practice in the video. All right, so we found the North Face. Great brand, right? Let's go ahead and look it up. Let's not be silly and buy stuff just because of the brand. So this is a North Face, what I would call a trail shirt. It's a long sleeve button front shirt, in kind of a nylon-y material. So I'm going to go ahead and search the North Face button shirt, similar using the button word like I did on the Ralph Lauren shirt. And we're going to go use and buy it now. And that still left us over 6,000 results. So I went ahead and also filtered for long sleeve. And then we're going to just flip over to sold. So we're at 2,200 plus results. Take a quick look, make sure it's the type of shirts that we're looking at on the rack. And then flip over to solds, 903 sold. So we just have about 300 of these types of shirts selling every month versus over 2,000 listed. So we're around a 15% or smaller sell-through rate. So for me, this is a pass, and I left that on the rack. So here's another shirt, Columbia Titanium. I think I've sold some titanium pants before, but not as familiar with this as a line. So let's go ahead and look it up and see if the shirts are desirable. So I'm just going to pop Columbia Titanium shirt into the search bar. and see what we have here. Only 443 results before filtering. We go buy it now in pre-owned. Taking a quick look. Looks pretty similar to what's on the rack, and we're just under 400 results here. And let's go ahead and flip over to solds. Only 152 results there. So about 50 of these selling every month and 400 listed. So, 10-12% sell-through rate. This is another shirt that I left on the rack based on the sell-through rate. Okay, so found this Jawbone tackle shirt and was looking at the back there just to check if it was a vented fishing shirt because that's kind of how it presented. And it was. And I've sold a good many vented fishing shirts in my time, so wanted to look this one up because I'd never heard of the brand before. So I just went ahead and searched for Jawbone shirt, and mostly what seemed to be coming up was the Jawbone tackle brand. So we're going to flip over to buy it now, pre-owned. See, it's a pretty small brand in terms of representation on eBay with just 60 actives. And then flipping over to solds, we only have 10 sold. So about 3 selling a month. So very low sell-through rate. So another shirt that I left on the rack purely based on the sell-through rate. Okay, so you can see this only takes between probably 30 and 45 seconds to look up an item, and you can get faster at that as you go. Just practice, practice, practice. We want to develop the thumb muscle memory. Where's my thumb go to do this quickly? But also just working with the numbers in your head. And if you say, well, Eric, hold on, nice video and all that, but I don't do math in my head, so this isn't going to work for me. You don't even have to do the math to use this method. Just you do need to look at the two different numbers. We have, how many are listed, how many are sold. If those are roughly equal, then for me that's a buy because I like thrifted clothing to have a 30% monthly sell-through rate, and that's what that's going to come out to approximately. If the number of sold is way up compared to the number listed, that's a hot selling item and it's going to flip quickly. If the number sold is way less than the number listed, that's a slow moving item and I don't buy it. A few other things I want to mention. One, I didn't talk a lot about size in the video, but that is a very important one to consider, particularly if you're going to use this method with clothing. So if you find an item, it seems like it has a decent or good sell-through rate, but the one that you have found is like a men's medium or small or extra small, you might want to comp that particular size because quite often the smaller sizes will not share or have as good of a sell-through rate as the item as a whole. And then same thing with bigger ones. If you find something that's the sell-through just it doesn't look quite there, but you found a 2XL, you'll comp that particular size because quite frequently the larger sizes will have a better sell-through rate than the whole for the item. So that's something to think about. I feel like the North Face shirt in the example really illustrates well, though, why we want to do this. Something I talk about on my channel a lot is a list of brands is not enough. You need to know the specific items within the brands to sell. There are some unicorn brands where any item is a great pickup. If you just called me on the phone, say, hey, Eric, I'm going to start reselling. Is the North Face a good brand to resell? I would say yes. But what I'm saying yes about is jackets and coats and pants and shorts. When it comes to the shirts, a lot of times it's just not there for that brand for whatever reason. So that's something to think about. I also want to call out the elephant in the room, and that is this is not perfect. There's a lot of factors and variables that we just don't know and certainly can't control. But it does work, and it's because the data averages out over time. So, what I'm really looking at is the average sell-through rate of something. There's stuff we just don't know. Like the Ralph Lauren shirts we looked at, 33,000 listed. What if somebody lists 10,000 tomorrow, and I'm comping today? Or what if someone listed 10,000 yesterday and I'm looking at it today? So the sell-through rate looks low, but those 10,000 that were listed yesterday haven't had a chance to sell yet. And if I check it again in a month from now, it might look different. Yeah, sure. All that's true. You can't know it. You won't know it. It doesn't do you any good to think about it, you know? So this method does work, and we're just using average numbers. It's, you know, in reality, there's listings within that 33,000 that will never sell, you know, because it's just a bad shirt or it's priced way too high or whatever it is. And then there's items that'll be listed tomorrow that'll sell in just 4 or 5 days, you know. So you can't know all that, but you can know the numbers, and the, you know, the more of something there is, the better and more accurate that number is going to be for you. So practice, practice, practice. If you want to do clothing in particular, I would say go to your closet right now and just start comping items that are in your closet to practice. The next time you go to a thrift store, plan to spend extra time there. Give yourself a long time to be there and look up a lot of stuff, you know, and just, you'll get good at it. You'll get fast at it. You'll limit your amount of bad purchases, and you'll increase your amount of good purchases, and you will make more money.